Hi, this is Angela Moorad at Amazing Kids AAC Consulting. This is a look at Android AAC apps on a prepaid track phone Samsung Android phone that I have not activated. So, in essence, it reminds me of what we used to be able to get in an iPod Touch, where you have a touchscreen device, but it's not going to make phone calls or anything like that. So by not activating this, it essentially gives me an Android option for that. So over here, I've installed the acapella voices that I've described in my other video. I have Keyboard with Friends, All the Feels, Alpha Topics, Articuloud, Avaz, Card Talk, Seaboard, Choicegenics, Core Voice, Cough Drop, Deaf Note, Emergency Chat, Help Talk, I Can Communicate, I Talk Doc, Jab Talk, Kids Story Builder, Lilu, Nikki Talk, Patient Communicator, Predictable, Search on AirSac, Speak It, Speak Easy, Speakably, Speech Assistant, Speech to Symbol Pro, Spoken, Symbo Talk, Talkie, Trait Tools, Twinkle, Symbols, Weave Chat, Whiteboard, Yes No AAC, and Yes No button. You may notice that I do not have Let Me Talk side-loaded here. I tried that, and it kept popping up an error message that it needed to be updated and just didn't really work very well, and I didn't feel comfortable leaving it installed. I didn't want it to corrupt the rest of my apps here. So I would not advise side-loading Let Me Talk on a phone. I'm not sure if it's because this is slightly newer than my tablet. I don't know. That's probably a red flag, though, that at some point Let Me Talk is just no longer going to work, even side-loaded. So I was going to show you what Avaz looks like here. And it's an app that is only usable in landscape mode.
I think it's amazing.
And
I think it's amazing.
the only thing I hope is that they figure out a way to get child voices added back in here. But these keys are perfectly usable on this phone. So that was exciting to see. So I'm going to get back out of here. Then I'll show you Core Voice, what it looks like on a phone. Again, it's only usable in landscape orientation.
I can do it.
And so that's Ella. I have her installed as a voice through the acapella voices. And Cough Drop, you could, and it might work okay if you were using a board set that was scaled differently, but here on this Android phone, to try and use it in portrait orientation, see how skinny? And it's also because I have English, Spanish buttons toggled on the side, so that probably is impacting it as well. But when I turn it here, that's a lot more usable for me. If I were going to be using this with a patient on an Android phone, I would probably toggle off those big quick button switch buttons over on the right to give me more real estate, where I might have to pick a smaller grid size so the buttons were a little bit larger. I'm able to use this, but this would probably be difficult for most of the patients that I worked with on a phone. Perfectly fine, though, on an iPad. And not an iPad, I'm sorry, an Android tablet. Emergency chat, if you're not familiar with it, you can edit what it says here, and then you hand the person your phone, and you're able to communicate non-verbally to ask for some help. And then you just basically like text back and forth, but without having to actually engage in text messaging. So that's quite helpful. And Help Me Talk, I Communicate. Those are both free, text-based, very simple text apps. Jab Talk, you have to create your own content. It's kind of a little similar to Go Talk Now, but like not nearly as good as Go Talk Now, but at least it's something that you could build your own stuff if you wanted to. Predictable here on a phone. Let it open up. Is much better in this portrait orientation. When I turn it sideways into landscape, here's what happens. And it never does adjust properly. So I highly suggest if you're going to use it on a phone that you keep it in portrait. Speak it. Can adjust either way. And this is Ella.
Ella.
So she's available here because I installed the acapella voices. So I have several voices there that are child voices. Speech assistant. It's the only one that really seems to rotate well and be totally usable either here, which is an up-down portrait orientation, or if I flip it on the over to landscape. So either one.
My name is Angela.
And to me, it's fully usable here on a phone as well as on my much larger tablet. But very impressed with how well this works here on an Android phone. And Weave Chat is pretty tiny. It's pretty tiny anyway for some of the buttons over on a tablet, but it's even tinier here on a phone. It might be
Icon.
And the same issue I ran into before. I don't know why it's mispronouncing that. Ella's pronouncing it correctly on other apps, but not here.
No.
So you could use Weave Chat. I might probably use it here in the portrait mode. It seems a little bit easier to scroll. And here's a whiteboard app. And so this one to show you that you can actually get quite a bit of AAC options over here on an Android phone. Here's the last one I'm going to show. Yes, no AAC. If you have it in portrait, it's up and down, or you can flip it like that. Actually, it's up and down either way. So this one, I probably would just keep it here in portrait mode.
Yes.
Because you get larger buttons.
No.
And this is editable, so you could have this be go and stop. You could have it be whatever you wanted those two options to be. Anyway, just a quick look at what these AAC apps look like on a Samsung Android phone.